Bid award, 525 Iron Street project, phase 1. General, for approval. Letters were received from Tony Gangusa of Boyle Construction Management. After careful review, he is recommending the following contracts be awarded for the 525 Iron Street project. General contract CMG of Easton Incorporated at their bid price of $1,239,000.
Motion approved.
Second, discussion. So I think it's important that we recall how we arrived at this moment. I know Sheriff Sigler is here, not necessarily here though, but previously the district attorney was here. We spoke a little bit about children in youth services, right? Significant challenges to their space problems have really brought us to this point where we're getting ready to make a $3 million decision, more or less, for the county taxpayer. And again, it all comes down to a critical need for space that hasn't been addressed and continues to be addressed in a piecemeal fashion with a lack of foresight, a lack of strategic planning. So I'd like to slide, please. So I'd like to take us back to Commissioners meeting on 18 November. Right there we see what was offered to the public and to us. Iron Street, $510,000, $1.49 million estimate of renovation. Total cost $2 million. 410 Center Avenue, $435. Renovation, $9 million. Total cost $9.476. And that information came from the same. This came from Boyle Construction. This was an estimate. But really what we heard at that meeting was bottom line up front, right? It's a move-in ready bargain. Next, please. So what's the reality and where we're going today? The reality is the renovations are going to be over $2.5 million, taking us over $3 million. What was reality of 410 Center Avenue? Presented to the Carbon County Board of Commissioners in a session with Mr. Joe Bennett on 4 November, $6.3 million. Build to suit, lease to own over 30 years. Total cost for the plan that was presented by Boyle Construction, worked with MKSD, Snyder Hoffman, right? $6.735 million. Let's dig a little bit deeper into that conversation that led us here. Next, please. Here's some comments. 1.49, if any kind of repairs would be needed. What we could occupy right now, that was in November, 5671 square feet. 16 total employees moving in February 2022 to Lehigh. Right, probably 75 to 80% of this building occupiable right now. Next slide. Let's look a little bit deeper into this, right? So I'm going to take you down to projected total costs, right? Just over $3 million, and that's the first phase of Iron Street. 410 Center Avenue, $6.7 million. Again, about $18,708 a month per lease. Right? Usable square feet, 7225 at Iron. Look at 410 Center Avenue, 32,467 feet. That includes the gym, unquestionably, of about 4,700 square feet. Unusable square feet, down there at Iron Street, 1940. Right? We knew that from the get-go. That was clearly stated. Look at the square foot costs. $420 compared to $207. Right? Now look at the square footage per person of renovated space. Down at Iron Street, allocating 219 square feet. Up at 410, 369. Right? That was before any additional spaces considered, like the 1A, 1B of Iron Street, which would take up a little more than 2,000 additional square feet. We still are, you're actually gonna drop to 209 because you're increasing, right? The max occupancy, 45 individuals. That's what children and youth is planning on their build out. Right now, unfortunately, they're almost half that. Up there at Jim Thorpe, move in 75 people, take that to 80 and beyond. You're still at 406 square feet. Now, on this first number, I excluded the 4,700 square feet from the gym, and this is where a potential renovation in the future could take place of the gym. All right, renovated capacity, you're going from 35 to 45, up at 410 from 75 to 80. Current occupancy, 0. We got planning and development still up there on 410 Center Avenue, ready. Look at the parking, 41 to 47, more or less, right there in Lehighton. There you are in Jim Thorpe, right, going to 41 to 52. That was before the other recommendation that Mr. Bennett had about additional parking space. So the office capacity, what you're putting up in children and youth services, and I simply described 3 offices that are challenged here in Carbon County. You're talking 1 office. What do you have at 410? Yeah, children and youth, aging, planning, workforce innovation. We're planned for that. And the court told us numerous times prior to this, there's a significant challenge of space up in the Jim Thorpe Magistrate's office. And they thought that needed to be expanded and increased. So over here, I'm just showing the rental rates per year that we're paying for these different entities that are outside of county buildings. Aging, and this is rental only, doesn't include utilities, cleaning, other measures, 25,000, planning, 12,000, the workforce innovation, 12,000, the magistrate's office, $30,000 a year. Next slide. Real simple, yes or no. Where's the common ground? There's only one bit of commonality between these 2 locations, right? Children and youth can fit in both of those. But let's think, can it fit planning and development, Iron Street? No. Workforce? No. Can it fit potential magistrate relocation? No. Does it offer flex space for what? A $6 to $9 million project we're getting ready to start, which is going to go from 11 months with moving everyone out to 17 months or longer, right? No flex space. We lost that opportunity. Do we have an additional courtroom that I'm hearing in all these sessions we're having? Going to need another courtroom. No, Iron Street isn't going to provide that. Is it a place for continuity of operations? We were just tasked a couple months ago, again, to relook our COOP plan, right? Where are we going to go when things go amiss and you can't operate out of your existing facilities? No, can't do that at Iron Street. You have a potential emergency shelter in Jim Thorpe, on the hill, on the heights. Nope, that Iron Street isn't going to serve that. What about senior activities? Can you do that down on Iron Street? Don't think so. Jim Thorpe, Borough, doesn't have a senior center. Weatherly, Palmerton, Nesquehoning, Lehighton, they have senior centers. Jim Thorpe doesn't have a senior center. You have one up the mountain. I challenge you to run Cotner's Hill in the winter. Judicial sales, can't host those down on Iron Street. Election activities, the smoothest election I saw run when it comes to returns was up there in the gymnasium at 410 Center Avenue. Even with 44 Susquehanna Street, man, you're still all cramped in. It's not a smooth process because you don't have the space. Town hall meeting space, other than courtroom 1, there's no place where you can assemble the entire county government at one time to have a conversation, have a discussion. You actually can't even discuss or have those departments that fall under the Board of Commissioners anywhere but courtroom 1. So Iron Street doesn't provide us that flexibility. Rent savings, I outlined them about $80,000 a year if you centralize and bring county government and keep it together. Parking revenue, guess what? I can rent those spots every festival weekend up there. All right? Flexibility for growth, Iron Street doesn't offer a bit of it. You can't build on it, right? You are where you are once you finish this renovation project. Next slide. I'm a firm believer in centralization of county government because it costs us time, money, and effort when we're decentralized, when we have county offices spread all over, right? It's a tyranny of time and distance, transit time, mileage fees. Just to give some general areas, general maintenance, our maintenance team having to run down to Iron Street. It's only, what, about 8-minute trip? But think about getting out of your office, going 8 minutes. Does any 8-minute trip actually become an 8-minute trip one way? Absolutely not. Plowing. So now we need a plowing contract down there, right? Vehicle maintenance. Our vehicles are maintained right here in Jim Thorpe, right? For all their regularly scheduled maintenance. Information technology support, right? 3, 4, 5 times a week. IT is running down to where children and youth is right now, right? Which is about a 2.5, 3-minute walk, leisurely. Well, now it's going to turn into significantly more use of incredibly challenging time management for that office. Office cleaning, the $65,000 security system we have to put in for one office. Talk about security, the sheriff presence. But guess what? The sheriffs, not just one, they get breaks, they get lunch. So now we're actually talking two. If not, we're talking at least the transit time, someone again being pulled away. Court hearing and attendances. Children and youth, a couple times a week, right, are into court hearings taking place. Supervision, so important. I asked my colleagues, when was the last time one of us was in the Palmerton aging office? When was the last time we were at workforce development, workforce innovation in Lehighton? When was the last time we visited that? Ask the last time we visited HR, children and youth, domestic relations, those other departments, right? We have a pulse of an understanding of how our people are doing and what's going on because of presence, because of the location of where we're at, right? We've eliminated the possibility of condensed courthouse renovation timeline. We're doing some process when we're going to do a floor at a time. This isn't the Pentagon where you can have 10 or 12 years to do it. So we're going from what could be 11 months to probably 17 or 18, if we're lucky. Each month alone costs us in consulting fees about $27,000 for each additional month. You know, so take that 6 times 27, shows you where we're at. Well, the problem is, you know, that ship had sailed, the water's under the bridge. So what can we do? Well, we can go ahead and continue to go ahead here, vote for these bids that are going to come up. Or maybe we need to rethink it, step back. Could it be better used as flex space, satellite offices for the row offices, a courtroom over the next year, year and a half? Now, children and youth does have funds that have been committed for this project, but nothing I've learned has said it's 1-year money, meaning that money could not be pushed into future years. Right now, I can assure you, children and youth does not have a space problem, or they would have been down there in February of 2022, right? It's not palatial office space they have, but they have office space, which is as good as any other workspace in the county for right now. So again, there is an alternative. That's all I have. Thank you. Caleb or Nicholas.
I just have one comment to make about it. Well, maybe two. We did look into other alternatives and the thing with maybe Joe Bennett didn't work out. And where this started off, that it was ready to move in, was probably 2 years ago. And Mr. Lukasevich, you needed a study to tell us how many people could be in that building. And it came back that now we can put 41 or 43 people in that building. That's what the study told us. That's how this turned into a $3 million project. It was ready to move into. Children and youth should have been in there almost a year and a half ago. And we wasted all this money on studies. I got elected to make decisions, and I'm in construction, and I looked at the building, and yeah, it might have needed heating and everything, but you needed a study done that held the project up. We hit the pandemic, and look at our projects we're getting into now. Something that should cost $40,000 is $90,000. So don't put stuff up on the board that you're putting facts up that accommodate to you. And this building that's there in Lehighton, supposedly, and that's what we were told, and you were in the same meeting, for 3 years in a row, we're supposed to get like $998,000 that will cover the cost of this. That was covered. And back then, when I did that, it should only cost that $2 million to do this building. But running this out, look at how many of our projects that we have done on these buildings in the last 2 years have doubled in price. Children and youth should have been in that building 2 years ago, and there wouldn't have been any renovation. You're the one that asked for a study. I didn't. I was ready to move them in the next day. So don't put stuff up on the board. Yeah, my numbers were right for 2 years ago, that it would have cost that. You look at what, in fact, Tony Boyle was here. Tony, in the last 2 years, how much has products gone up? Probably 50, maybe 75%.
Lumber is back down to where it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
The price is still there yet. I don't care if lumber's down.
On January 6, 2020, when Commissioner Lucas Evans, myself, made the motion to do a strategic pause to assess all building and construction projects, you voted against that pause, a 90-day pause to relook at it. You just kept pushing ahead without a plan.
And I was
it continued to piecemeal, and it continues to cost the county taxpayer money. And it may be ARPA money, but again, it came out of my pocket. Trust me, it came out of the pocket of every single one of us. So I'm going to read this from the Times News. Reconsider building purchase. Dear editor, at the recent meeting of the Carbon County Commissioners, the decision was made to purchase the old school building on Center Street in Jim Thorpe for office space. A more fiscally sound proposal is a commissioner's suggestion to buy a building in Lehighton presently belonging to St. Luke's, which already is configured with offices and adequate parking. The purchase price for the building is $500,000. Buying this building is a win-win for the taxpayer and the young people of Carbon County. Misinformed, unfortunately, right? The facts aren't there to support that. She was going on what she probably read in the Times News. And it's unfortunate we're at this point today where we're going to offer or do bids $3 million for 45 people. And we're going to have our same problems tomorrow as we have today when it comes to space. It's not going to change the space.
And again, up on the hill, up on the hill, we only had 40-some parking spots.
41, same
and I
as down
think the
there.
next thing would have been putting a parking garage there. That didn't fit into me. That was the presentation. You forgot to let that out. That there might
No,
have been
that
a
was
parking
an
garage
additional.
there.
If we want to go to 100, and again, Mr. Gangoose is right there. We can tell you. We talked about it. Probably $20,000 to $25,000 per spot for a second level, and we could do that. Get it up to 100 cars if we need to. But again, I'm looking at the property in Lehighton. It's going from 41 to about 47 spots. Jim Thorpe is going from 41 to 52. You know?
I said, anybody else?
Okay, well, we do have a motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Oh,
Wayne, are you there yet?
the fire went out.
Wayne. Hey, Wayne.
Sorry, I had the phone on mute.
Okay.
Move on here, my comments, yeah, agree, parking is a major issue. Talk about coop plans, you want to put all your eggs in the basket if you have an major incident in Jim Thorpe area around that one building. Do we want to mix children and youth with other court cases and people coming into court and other offices that are not a good mix in a particular building. To me, there's several other reasons why we should spread out a little bit, other than just parking and not only in Jim Thorpe, but the inconveniences of going to Jim Thorpe for our visitors. We go into the high school, into that school building, we would have no room whatsoever for any visitors or very few for handicapped. So let's call for the vote and move it on.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
And this is for the first contract,
For the
correct?
general contract.
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The next contract, electrical, Urban Electrical Contractors of Dunmore, Pennsylvania, at the bid price of $530,000.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The mechanical contract, Master Mechanical Corporation of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, at the bid price of $521,480.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, with regrets, I just want to note that there was a lower bidder. Unfortunately, there were some technical deficiencies, which I think we would have been like to overcome. Would have been about $90-some thousand cheaper, and went to a local contractor. But and we already had the paperwork, all the documentation, because that party is already under contract. So I have to go with yes, with Master Mechanical, unfortunately, and it's a shame for JBM.
The next contract, plumbing, DeWalt Plumbing of Easton, Pennsylvania, at the bid price of $148,800.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Fire protection, Triangle Fire Protection Incorporated of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, at the bid price of $78,780.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.